So now we'll proceed from here. Stood Mary Beasley. So Mary Beasley was her favorite student, right? And she was standing on the platform waiting for Miss Meadows. I think we did this paragraph. Yes, this one also we did. Silence, please, immediately. So Mary saw Miss Meadows coming, and then she signaled all the girls in the class to keep quiet and to maintain silence, right? So, but then maybe because of the way Miss Meadows entered the class, maybe because of the way this English teacher she entered the class, that the students they were able to find out that Miss Meadows is in a wax. Meady is in a wax. Meady is in a wax means she is not okay today. She is upset for some reason, right? I told you that the students they come to know everything, right? She was not smiling. She entered the class lost, right? Not with a very pleasant expression on her face. So all these things made the students realize that she is not in a happy mood. Well, let them think it. But this Miss Meadows also understood that the students must be thinking that Miri is in a wax. But then she said she didn't care much about it. Her eyelids quivered. Quivered means they were shaking. She tossed her head, defying them. What defying them means disregarding them without paying any heed to them. What could the thought of those creatures matter to someone who stood there bleeding to death? Bleeding to death means she was not literally bleeding to death, means that her sorrow was very great. She was undergoing a lot of pain. Stood there bleeding to death, pierced to the heart by such a letter. And what was the reason for her sorrow? What was the reason why she was sad?
She received a letter in which
Yes, in which
Something have been written.
yes, something had been written, and we'll come to know now what the letter, what were the contents of the letter. Right? Who will read? Akanksha, please read. Please read the contents
I
of the letter. I feel yes.
I feel
Yes.
I feel more and more strongly that a marriage will be a mistake. Not that I do not love you. I love you as much as it is possible for me to love any woman. But truth to tell, I have come to the conclusion that I am not a marrying man, and the idea of settling down fills me with nothing but and the words discussed what scratched out lightly and regret written over the top.
Yes. So now this, I hope you can understand who wrote this letter. Fiance of Miss Meadows, right? This letter was from her fiance, and what had he written? He had written, "I feel more and more strongly that our marriage would be a mistake." So he was calling off the marriage, right? Which was supposed to take place between Miss Meadows and this person, right? So in this letter, this was written. This letter was written to Miss Meadows to cancel the marriage, right? Not that I do not love you. So he wrote, maybe he was not sure of getting married, so he wrote this letter. Not that I do not love you. I love you as much as it is possible for me to love anyone. But truth to tell, I have come to the conclusion that I am not a married man. So he was kind of scared of getting married, and so he wrote this letter, right? The idea of getting married filled him with disgust. And that word disgust, which was written, it was first he wrote that word disgust and then he scratched it slightly. But it was very visible, very much visible. Right? It didn't disappear from the paper. It was still there and regret written over the top. He wrote, I'm not a marrying man, and the idea of settling down fills me with nothing but the word disgust was written, then scratched lightly. Scratched lightly. What is the meaning of scratched lightly here? That the word was still visible. Means this is what he wanted to write. Disgust. And then he thought something and he just scratched that word, disgust, and wrote regret on top. But Miss Meadows was able to read both the words. So this letter was going on and on in her head. And this letter was the reason for her sorrow, sadness, whatever. For her unpleasant mood at the present, means when she was in the school. Basil, Miss Meadows stopped over the piano. Stopped over the piano means she walked in a very stiff manner, right, over the piano. And Mary Beasley, who was waiting for this moment, bent forward. Her curls fell on her cheeks while she breathed. Good morning, Miss Meadows. So this was something which Mary used to do daily. So today also, she was waiting for Miss Meadows to be there. So the moment she went towards the piano, Mary Beasley came forward, who was waiting for this moment. Waiting for this moment tells us that this was her ritual. Every day she used to do this. So today also, the moment she went towards the piano, Mary Beasley came and she bent forward. Her curls fell over her cheeks, means her curly hair, because she was bending, so the curly hair, they fell on her cheeks while she breathed. Good morning, Miss Meadows. And then she wished good morning and she motioned towards rather than headed to her mistress, a beautiful yellow chrysanthemum. So this was her ritual. Every day she used to give her a flower. Chrysanthemum is a flower, right? This little ritual of the flower had been gone through for ages and ages. So this ritual had been going on for ages and ages, right? Every day Mary used to come, gift her a flower and wish good morning. Quite a term and a half. It was as much a part of the lesson as opening the piano. But this morning, yes, this little ritual of the flower had been gone through for ages and ages. So this was something which was going on for ages and ages. Means every day she used to do this. Quite a term and a half. So almost for a term, for the entire term and a half, this custom was being performed. Himanshi, read please. Still here, any problem? Anything you haven't understood? No, fine. Then Himanshi, please read.
अरे मेरा अनम्यूट नहीं हो रहा. Basil, Miss Meadows stalked over to the piano, and
Himanshi, please unmute yourself and then read.
Basil, Miss Meadows stalked over to the piano, and Mary Weasley, who was waiting for this moment, bent forward. Her curls fell over her cheeks while she breathed. "Good morning, Miss Meadows," and she motioned towards rather than handed to her mistress a beautiful yellow chrysanthemum. This little ritual of the flower had been gone through for ages and ages, quite a
Okay,
term
just
and
a
a half.
second, just a second, just a second. See, a chrysanthemum is a flower, it's a garden flower, and then this flower symbolizes optimism and joy also, right? Gifting a flower is something which is joyful. Okay, this is the symbolism of this flower, optimism and joy. Yes, now proceed.
It was as much part of the lesson as opening the piano. But this morning, instead of taking it up,
What does
instead
it
of
mean? It was as much a part of the lesson as opening the piano. Means it was a custom. As every day opening the piano, because she was a music teacher, so she must be sitting and playing the piano. So as opening the piano was a ritual of the music class, so Mary's gifting a chrysanthemum to Miss Meadows was also a custom of the music class, right? Every day this happened. Yes, please go on.
instead of tucking it into her belt while she leant over Mary and said, "Thank you, Mary. How very nice." Turn to page 32. What was Mary's horror when Miss Meadows totally ignored the chrysanthemum, made no reply to her greeting, but said in a voice of ice, "Page 14, please," and marked the essence well.
Actually,
Staggering moment.
wait, wait. Okay. So every day, what did she used to say when Mary gifted her a flower? But this morning, instead of taking it up, so it means that every day she used to take the flower and tuck it in her belt, and then say, "Thank you, Mary. How very nice," and turn to page 32. So this was something which happened every day, right? She used to accept her greetings and accept the flower and tuck that flower in her belt, right? This was done by Miss Meadows daily. What was Mary's horror? But today, something else happened, right? What was Mary's horror when Miss Meadows totally ignored the chrysanthemum? But today, she ignored that flower which was given to her by Mary, made no replies to her greeting. She didn't reply to her greeting also, but said in a voice of ice and in a very cold voice, emotionless voice, she said, "Page 14, please," and mark the accents well, right? She said in a very harsh, blunt tone that open to page 14 and make a note of the accents of the song. Staggering moment. So this was a staggering moment for Mary because this was something very different from what she expected because it didn't happen daily. This was something, this kind of a reaction was something very new to Mary, and she was kind of hurt also. She felt bad that she didn't accept her flower, ignored her flower, and didn't reply to her greetings. So this was a kind of staggering moment for Mary Beasley. Mary blushed until the tears stood in her eyes, and then she, out of sadness, she blushed, and the tears, her eyes were welled up with tears. But Miss Meadows was gone back to the music stand. But Miss Meadows was not there to observe this reaction, right? Observe the repercussions of her behavior. She was not there. She went to the music stand. Her voice rang through the music box, and she started singing. Now, can you tell me what's happening now? See, this is how you can say we transfer our mood and our feelings to the environment. In the beginning of the story, only one person was not in a good mood. Who was that person? Avishi, who was that person?
Miss Meadows.
Miss Meadows was that person. Right? She was sad. She was not in a good mood. She was puzzled, troubled, and perturbed, and like in a depressed, sorrowful mood. But now, what she's doing slowly, she's making everyone who is coming in contact with her sad. This is what normally happens, right? Because she was not in a good mood, so she didn't care about the emotions of this girl, Mary Beasley. This is how we all do. We are not feeling okay, we don't behave in a normal manner. Like I told you the other day, you get a scolding at home in the early morning, you come to school and then you start screaming and shouting at your friends, you don't behave properly in the class, and then you annoy the teacher also. So then the entire environment around you becomes sad, right? So this is what is happening, staggering moment. Now this Mary Beasley was also hurt, right? Page 14. We'll begin with page 14. A lament. Even the song which which she chose was a sad one. Today she will not sing any joyful song. Today she will sing a lament and make others also sing a lament. And then what will happen? Can you guess what will happen? Shama, can you guess what will happen? No. Shrishti, what will happen? When the entire class will start singing a lament?
Ma'am, then everyone will be sad. Her sadness will be
Yes.
passed on from her to everyone.
Yes. So our behavior actually depends upon our mood. Whatever is there inside, we start behaving in a similar manner, and then our environment also becomes the same. Okay, page 14. We'll begin with page 14, a limit. So what was there on page 14? Every day she used to sing page 32. But today she chose page 14. Now girls, you ought to know it by this time. So by this time, you should be knowing this song. We shall take it all together, not in parts, all together, but without expression. So you are going to take the entire song. We'll not divide the song in parts and sing. We'll take the entire song. The entire song was supposed to be sung in one go, right? We'll take the entire song together, not in parts, and without expression. You don't have to sing it without expressions. Just have to take care of the notes and the music. Sing it, though quite simply, beating time with the left hand, and take a note of the time with your left hand. This was the instruction which was given by Miss Meadows to the entire class. She raised the baton, she tapped the music stand twice, and then she tapped the music stand twice, which was a signal to start the song, to start singing. Shama, please read from She Raised the Baton.
She raised the baton, she tapped the music stand twice, down came Mary on the opening chord, down came all those left hands beating the air, and in chimed those mournful voice. Fast too fast fade the roses of pleasure. Soon autumn gels into winter dearer, fleetly, music's gay measure passes away from the listening ear. Good heavens, what could be more tragic?
Wait. She raised the baton, she tapped the music stand twice, which was a signal to start singing, right? So that was a kind of a signal that now the girl should begin with the song. Down came Mary on the opening chord. So Mary also, because Mary was responsible for playing the accompaniments, right? Told you whenever the singing was, whenever the singing used to take place in the class, then Mary used to play the instrument, right? So she also came to the opening chord. Down came all those left hands, beating the air, and the girls were supposed to make a note of the time with the left hair. So sorry, with the left hand. So they also started using their left hand to make a note of the time, beating the air and in chimed, beating the air and in chimed those young girls. In chime means singing together. So all those girls, they started singing together, mournful voices in sad voice. And if you will see, you go on listening to a sad song or singing a sad song for some time, what will happen? You'll automatically become upset, right? So their voices became mournful. So this was the song which they were singing. Fast, too fast fade the roses of pleasure. Soon autumn yields unto winter drear. So these words, drear, pass away. So these words are, what are they talking about? They are talking about sadness. These are like not very pleasant words. So fast, too fast fade the roses of pleasure. So roses of pleasure, roses of joy, they are fading away too fast. Soon autumn yields into winter drear. Now autumn will yield into winter, right? Yield into means autumn will surrender to winter. Autumn is going and winter will come. Fleety, fleety, music's gay nature passes away from the listening ear, right? So the music is fleeting away from the listening ear. Gay measure is fleeting away. Gay measure means the gay song. The happy song is fleeting away from the listening ear, from the ears of those who are listening. So this was the song which they were singing. Good heavens, what could be more tragic than the lament? Every note was a sigh, a sob, a groan of awful mournfulness. So this song, this is a description of the song. Every note of this song was a sob, a groan, and mournfulness. Right? So the entire song was full of sadness, mourning, all these things. Miss Meadows lifted her arms in the white gown and began conducting with both. So his arms were in the white gown which she was wearing. So she just lifted her arms, took her arms out, and began conducting with both hands. So conducting, you know, not the person who is conducting the music, moves hands up and down, right? Directing the singers. So she started conducting the music with both hands. I feel more and more strongly that our marriage would be a mistake. So this, only the contents of the letter were going inside her head. Right? She didn't realize what she was doing to the girls. The girls, the mood of the girls in the beginning of the story. How she, what was the mood of the girls in the beginning of the story? Bhumi.
Ma'am, they were happy and cheerful.
Yes, they were
talking
happy and
to each
cheerful.
other.
You know, even the words which have been used, right? Heads bobbing here and there, right? Chirping. The way they came to school, jumping, running, right? So all these words, what do they tell us? They tell us that they were in a happy mood. But now, after singing a mournful song, what will happen to their happiness? Will be gone, right? Miss Meadows, though she was sitting there singing a song, but her mind was occupied with that letter only, right? While the girls were singing, she was thinking of the letter. I feel more and more strongly that our marriage would be a mistake. These were the things which were in her head. She was constantly thinking about the letter. She beat, and then she started beating. And the voices cried, Fleety, ah Fleety. Means there the song was going, the song was also sad, and in her mind the sad contents of the letter were being replayed again and again. What could have possessed him to write such a letter? And she was thinking, what went wrong with him? What happened to him? Why did he write such a letter? This was going in her head. What could have led up to it? Means, what was it? What happened? What were the situations that he has to write such a letter? He had to write such a letter, right? So, because out of the blue, the letter was sent to her. They didn't have a fight. They didn't quarrel over something. One fine morning, she just received that letter. So she was constantly thinking what went wrong. Everything was okay between us. We were about to get married. Then why such a letter? And then the words of the letter. The letter was not written in a very polite tone. Especially the word disgust, which was scratched off lightly. Means he didn't even make an effort to remove that word disgust completely. It was just striped off lightly, but it was very much visible to Miss Meadows. No extra efforts were made to remove that word. This last letter had been, then she started thinking about the last letter. What could have led up to it? Means, what was the reason that he wrote such a letter? It came out of nothing. It came out of nothing means it came out suddenly. Everything was okay between us. We didn't fight. But still, what went wrong? This is what happens to us. Our mind is occupied. If everything was okay between two people, they were about to get married, and then one fine morning she gets this kind of letter. Obviously, what will happen? His last letter had been all about a fumed oak bookcase he had bought for R, because they were getting married, right? So for our books. So in the last letter with Basil wrote, he mentioned about the bookcase, which was made of oak wood, wood of the oak tree. So he must have bought a bookcase for their books. So in the last letter, he wrote such stuff. And now all of a sudden, this letter. So she started thinking about that letter. What she is trying to do, her mind is trying to figure out what went wrong. That letter was perfectly okay. He was fine till now. But then what happened to him? R means because they were getting married. And a natty little hall stand. Right? So, and he wrote about the hall stand which he bought. He had seen a very neat affair with a carved owl on the bracket. So he had even given a description of that hall stand in that letter. In his last letter, he had given a description of the stand which he bought. There was a carved owl on the bracket holding 3 hat brushes in its claws. So there were the claws of the owl were meant to hang your hats, right? So this kind of a hall stand he bought. How she had smiled at that. And when at that time she read that letter, she smiled. Means she was happy reading the contents of his previous letter. So like a man to think one needed 3 hat brushes from the, sorry, it was there for hanging the hat brushes, not the hats. So like a man to think one needed 3 hat brushes from the listening ears sang the fine verses. And then for a moment, she started pondering over the contents of the previous letter written by Basil, right? And then why did she smile at that? Why did she smile at that letter? Because means like a man, a normal man would think, right? Men always try to keep everything secure. So instead of one hat brush, he bought a stand which had 3 claws to hang 3 hat brushes. So this she found funny, that it is so much like a man to think that he needed 3 hat brushes. One would do, that he needed 3 hat brushes, right? So this this is what made her smile while reading that letter, the previous letter which was written by Basil. Once again, said Miss Meadows. So after the girls finished the song, she again, see, a description of 2 things is going on. The letters written by Basil, with which Miss Meadows is obsessed at the present moment. She's continuously thinking about the letters. The previous letter written to her and the last one. That is the when he broke off the engagement. Once again, said Miss Meadows. And by this time, the girls had, when she was thinking about the letter, the girls finished singing the song. And so she asked them to repeat. But this time in parts, still without expression. So she said, this time you will not sing the entire song in one go, you will sing it in parts, but still without expression. Forget about the expression at the present moment, you just have to sing the song. Fast or too fast. So he instructed how the girls were supposed to sing the song. Once again, said Miss Meadows, but this time in parts, still without expression. So without expression, you have to read fast or too fast. And then the girls started singing. With the gloom of the contralto added, one could scarcely help shuddering. Right? Fade the roses of pleasure. So see, now when the second time the girls were singing the, what is a contralto? It's related to music, right? The lowest female voice known as a contralto. So again, when the second time the girls were singing the song, it made them even more sorrowful, right? One could scarcely help shuddering. And this time, the mood was so sad that they almost started shuddering, right? Anyone who would listen to this song would start trembling with sorrow. Right? Shudder means to tremble. Scarcely help shuddering. So scarcely help shuddering tells us how they were singing. They were singing in such a sad manner. Means the effect of the song. Fade the roses of pleasure. Last time he had come to see her, Basil had worn a rose, and then she again was lost. Miss Meadows started thinking. First, she thought about the letter which was written by Basil, the last letter. I mean, before this one. And now, when the girls they started singing, she started thinking about their last meeting. Last time he had come to see her, Basil had worn a rose in his buttonhole. So, how he looked when he came to meet her last time. How handsome he had looked in that bright blue shirt with that dark red rose. So, he wore a bright blue shirt at that time, and how handsome he was looking at that time. And he knew it too. And he was also very well aware that he was looking good in that shirt. He couldn't help knowing it. First, he stroked his hair, then his mustache. His teeth gleamed when he smiled. Right? So this is the description. She could recollect how Basil looked when he came to meet her the last time. The headmaster's wife keeps on asking me to dinner. So these words were uttered by Basil when he came to meet her the last time. Right? He told Miss Meadows about how many people are fond of her. One of them is headmaster's wife. Right? So he told Miss Meadows, this is how they like talk. Right? You don't know, like, she is also after me. She also has invited me for dinner. So this is the way he was talking. The headmaster's wife keeps on asking me to dinner. It's a perfect nuisance. I never get an evening to myself in that place. And so it's a perfect nuisance means it's like, it's very annoying. She's after me. She goes on asking me for dinner. I don't even get an evening for myself. How will I go to dine with her? Right? So this is the way he reacted. I think we should stop here and we'll continue on the next one.